The opening match on this fiasco was Adam Page and Matt Hardy against Jack Evans and Angelico. Brian, how many different gimmicks, names, personalities, attitudes has Matt Hardy had here in just less than 12 months on this program? How many different nicknames? How many times he been a babyface and a heel and back and forth? Can you even count?
I can't. They're hoping something will stick.
Nothing will stick because nobody get used to anything. And the best thing that he had done was the 1 week when he came out and spoke as himself, Matt Hardy, wrestling legend in the twilight of his career as a real person. There comes more ice falling. Right now it's a rib. And he's acting like a smarmy, phony, full of shit manager that's trying to screw Adam Page out of his money rather than trying to be one. It's obvious he's acting like this. They're doing a skit. They're not attempting in any way, and maybe they're the smart ones, because it doesn't make any sense. And the way that they've done it, with Matt last week whispering to the camera, "I've got you here because he won't remember this," while fucking Page is switching the shit and everybody knows what's going on. And if Hardy had either watched the television show he was on last week or read the papers that he was handed back, before he sent them to his lawyer, my God, it's like children are doing this and there's no reason for it. You got guys with talent here. I'm talking about Page and Hardy, not Evans and Angelico. So as soon as Page and Hardy make their separate entrances into the ring, Evans and Angelico appeared in the ring. They jumpstart the thing with a bell ringing on top of the replay that they were doing in the box from last week. So the box replay with their story got stepped on by the bell and the action with no introductions. This fucking show is a goddamn runaway train wreck from a technical and formatting standpoint. And this didn't do anybody any favors, because I don't know what you thought, but Page and Hardy were trying to have a wrestling match, especially Matt. He don't want to do too much crazy shit at this point. They almost killed him before, but they're trying to have a wrestling match. And it's hard to work with Evans and Angelico unless you're the fucking young twinks or some team that just does the cheerleading and the gymnastics. This was a style clash.
Well, even beyond that, if you and I are both not fans of the Young Bucks style of matches. However, we can at least say that they're pretty good at hitting their moves. They practice them. Sometimes you could tell they're telegraphing what they're going to do, but they do it well. Evans and Angelico are that, but sloppy.
Yes.
And it didn't work well with these two guys at all.
It stands out more when, let's face it, when the Bucks or Evans and Angelico or Top Flight or any of those teams are having the cheerleading matches, a lot of everybody's shit doesn't necessarily hit right, but it goes so fast and it's so confusing to view visually that it doesn't stand out when they miss shit because they're missing so much shit. But when you got two guys trying to have a wrestling match and the other guys are just doing the flips and the gymnastic shit, and they don't hit it, it stands out worse. And again, I understand giving Page and Hardy in the overall scheme of the booking a tag team match and a win here. But again, it's 2 stars against 2 jobbers and way too competitive. And because of the goofy booking, it was hard. They wanted to give Page the comeback, so naturally they try to get the heat on Matt Hardy, but now they're 2 job guys getting heat on Matt Hardy, who's portrayed now as a heel. So it's hard to get sympathy on him when he's a fucking prick trying to screw his partner out of money. And they're, as I said, Evans and Angelico are just so awkward when they're trying to work. And then they get heat on fucking Hardy. And finally, Page gets a comeback, but it simultaneous ice cold tags. Evans or Angelico, whichever one was in, they tagged at the same time, just ice cold. Page comes in and makes a nice comeback, some shit. He's a star. But then they got fucking fancy and tried to do a bunch of shit. And did you see Page tried to catch, Evans was coming off the top rope like he was going to fucking drop kick Page. Page was going to catch him and powerbomb him into Angelico, but he missed the guy that was laying there with the fucking guy that was flying. I don't know. And then Hardy tagged himself in with a backslap tag. Now everybody's doing it. I'm just going to give up. Those aren't real tags, but we'll just pretend that they are. And then, I swear to God, Evans and Angelico proceeded to screw up and or miss 3 or 4 straight moves on Matt Hardy and got a 2 count. And it kept going on after Page's comeback should have been boom, 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 do my moves. Hardy tags himself in, steals the fucking thing or whatever, right? But God damn it. And finally, at one point, they stopped the babyface again. Angelico grabbed Evans's foot. Evans fed it behind him like this was a cheerleading move. He fed his foot behind him to Angelico. Angelico flipped him a front flip, but he went completely over Hardy and landed on his feet on the other side of him, where Page came in and stopped a second to wait for him to stand up and then clotheslined both of them. And then Hardy got the win with a twist of fate on Angelico, where they replayed it from 2 different angles, and it clearly showed that fucking Angelico's head was a foot off the fucking mat. He took a great bump. He just didn't hit anything. He was standing straight up, but his head was a foot off the fucking canvas. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
So, and then they ended up the same thing that they could, and Hardy fucking wins. Why couldn't Page have just made the fucking comeback? They take some bumps. Hardy tag himself in, hit that fucking move. They had to stop down, screw up a bunch of shit, stop the momentum, make the stars look less, make the job guys look tougher. And then Hardy did the fucking promo that we knew was coming about his 30% of Adam Page that he got in the contract. And he was doing, the delivery here was tongue in cheek. Like, we're not trying to make people believe this because it's so preposterous. We're just having fun with it. And then Page, of course, reveals that he switched the paperwork. Did we not call this? Did everybody called it, right? You could see it coming. I think all the fans knew.
Yeah, how come Matt just didn't watch the show or a clip on YouTube or read The Observer? Or how come he's the only one who didn't know Page switched the paperwork?
He didn't read the paperwork. He said, as he clearly said in his promo, I just sent it straight to the lawyer. Oh, for fuck's sake. Because somebody thought of that loophole, so that made it totally believable. So Page switched the fucking paperwork. Here comes a fucking guy in a mascot outfit. I said, was that the Jaguars mascot?
I believe so, yes.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot comes out with balloons and the contract that showed Matt Hardy that he signed for a match with Adam Page, where if Page wins, he gets all of Matt's money for the first quarter of 2021. And Matt's, of course, shocked and dismayed at the thing that everybody knew was going to happen that we called last week that the fans were talking about. So they've made Matt look like a complete fucking buffoon. Then they agreed to put both quarter one earnings on the line in their match. And then the mascot attacked Page, and it turned out to be Cassidy from Private Party. And Angelico and Jack Evans and Cassidy in the mascot outfit get the most sloppy amateur heat, in quotation marks, on Adam Page I've ever seen, with left-footed kicks and they're using the mascot head, the stuffed animal mascot head to hit him with. And then here comes the entire Dork Order, 12 of them, and they have a big amateur fight. Like, all of a sudden, if you told a dozen fans you can play in the ring at intermission, this is what it would have looked like. What was your takeaway on all of this?
The match was sloppy. It was a mess. Jack Evans, I mean, I'm sure he's not, but he looks homeless. I wasn't really big on the match. It was a spectacle.
That's I'll have you know, that is not fair of you to say that, because I know for a fact when Jack Evans was a kid, his parents moved 4 or 5 times. But he found them every time.
Oh,
go ahead.
Very funny. But match was sloppy. The post-match was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. I don't know if anyone's caring about this big money Matt Hardy gimmick, his latest incarnation. But the idea, Isaiah Cassidy is the mascot, but the mascot's coming out with the contract
that Page, obviously.
That Adam Page was supposedly went to backstage. What? Did he just go to a guy in a mascot outfit? Hey, listen, Mr. Wildcat Willie, I'm going to give you this. I want you to come out in a little bit. He didn't know that it was, well, whatever. That's stupid. The long tease, if we can call it that, for Adam Page and the Dark Order to consummate their love. Enough already. Just enough, like...
Hopefully with a condom or we'll lose more talent.
I appreciate a long build, but not for this. Not for this. Adam Page has as much star ability and personality as anyone there, and they constantly misuse him or bury him in things that no one cares about. I've said it before that I believe the long-term plan is probably to have him beat Omega down the road, get his win back, beat his former partner, elevate him.
Don't you think they ought to start trying to make it look like that should happen?
That's my point. That's my point. He has just been bungled the last few months because AEW's booking, well, let's just say, because Tony Khan doesn't know how to book wrestling despite the fact that he thinks he does. Not good, not a good opener. The Matt Hardy, Adam Page program, if someone cares about it, I don't know why.
Officer Bar Brady was in the back with the Inner Circle. Of course, Sammy is now is gone. He's resigned. But tonight on the television program, Santana and Ortiz are taking on the Young Twinks for the Tag Team Championship. But we've already established that MJF and Jericho get the tag team title match at the pay-per-view, right? So if Santana and Ortiz win the match tonight, which obviously everybody knows they're not going to, then they would theoretically have to be fighting Jericho and MJF and et cetera, and Sammy's just left, and now there's all kinds of drama. And they actually, in this interview, they all tried to be halfway serious here. If any of this shit had made sense up until now, this interview as a standalone thing was okay and not offensive, but it's just what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, with like a bunch of guys there with their drunk uncle. I like
now. Don't say that about Alex Marvez.
No, Marvez isn't the problem here. No, the booking for the Inner Circle has been atrocious. Some may try and defend it. Usually it's those who have contributed ideas to the booking of the Inner Circle, but it has been atrocious for
those who smelt it, dealt it, and those who booked it, defend it. That doesn't work. We'll work on that.
It's been garbage, but I'll say this quickly here, and I'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to the match. I like Santana and Ortiz so much when they're serious.
Yeah.
They come across as real. They come across as a threat, as opposed to the early days of AEW when Ortiz was really hamming it up. And I started thinking about it. We really don't see them too much in terms of actual tag team matches. I mean, you could probably count on our hand the amount of Proud and Powerful or just Santana and Ortiz, whatever they're called.
We had to watch the Best Friends week after week after week. We had to see all these high school cheerleader teams week after week. But FTR, hardly ever. Santana and Ortiz, hardly ever. The put-together tag teams are rated higher and focused more on than the actual legitimate tag teams that they have. That's just my opinion.
No, I completely agree. I would like to see more FTR. I'd like to see more Santana and Ortiz. But we never really get to.